do review part 1 today, and then tomorrow we'll do review part 2. Anything we don't finish today, because if you notice, there's a lot of slides. We got 19 slides to get through. Anything we don't get to is going to be an extra credit independent work, okay? So whatever we don't get to, I'll post it on Teams later, and it'll be due for extra credit by Wednesday at midnight. So just a heads up about that.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. My volume was like super low.
So what I was saying is anything we don't get to today, because there's 19 slides to get through, anything we don't finish will be due for extra credit homework due Wednesday at midnight.
Okay.
Cool.
But
All
what
right.
if we finish everything today?
If you finish everything today, then maybe whatever we don't finish tomorrow can be extra credit. But I don't think we'll get through everything. This is a lot of problems. And I kind of did that on purpose.
I hope we don't get through everything.
Because you want to do some extra credit. If we don't get through everything, I'll think of something else that you guys can do for extra credit. All right. Let's get started. Which expression represents the length of arc AB? So there's a right answer and there's a decoy answer. Can anyone identify the decoy?
Is it A?
Yeah, A is the decoy. A lot of people chose A on the quiz and then got the wrong answer.
Yeah, it fooled me very hard.
It fooled a lot of people. Let's take a look at why A is actually wrong. So usually you would do, okay, 120 over 360 equals X over what? What goes underneath?
Why?
The circumference, because we're looking for length. Length is circumference. So if I want to know the length of AB, I want to know how much is that out of the total. And the total circumference is 2 pi r. So what's the circumference? I see Prilla put it. Circumference is 12 pi.
So that means it would be D.
So that
Because
means
you could simplify the fraction into 120 over 360.
Exactly. 120 over 360 simplifies to 1 over 3.
That circumference changes like the whole equation.
It sure does. So that was why A was a decoy and D was the one that we're actually looking for.
Well, B and C were like
way
obviously
off.
wrong.
Yeah. All right. So do I have any questions on this one, the first one?
No.
Cool.
No.
No questions, no questions. All right. Here's another one from the quiz. So take a look at it, refamiliarize yourself with it, and let me know in the chat what you put as your answer. And then tell me what the correct answer is if you got it wrong.
Okay. Wait, is this area?
This is asking for the correct equation.
Okay.
Okay, a couple more seconds. Just tell me in the chat what you put, and then if you got it wrong, tell me what you think it might be instead. All right, cool. So for the equation, when you have the equation of a circle, remember that I'm gonna just write the like general one. It's x minus h squared, x minus k squared, and then r squared. So r is radius, right? So that means that whatever you have here should be the radius to the power of 2. Now, what is the radius of the circle? Radius is 4. So what is r to the power of 2? 16. 16. Now, where is the center? Where is the center of the circle?
3, -5.
Good. 3, -5. And you just have to remember that when it goes into the parentheses, those numbers, what happens to them?
I'm pretty sure I put C or D in the quiz.
I can tell you if you're not sure. I can go look real quick. But my question is, if the center is 3 comma negative 5, what happens when it goes into the parentheses?
So in the parentheses, you flip the numbers around.
It's the opposite. Yeah.
Signs.
So positive 3 is going to be negative 3, and negative 5 is going to be positive 5. So based off of that, you know it's not going to be A, you know it's not going to be B. And then since the radius squared is 16,
Going to see.
exactly.
I think I got it wrong. I don't remember.
I can look. Daniel, you got this one. You got this one wrong. You put D. A few people put D. Why? What is the little mistake you might have made? Like, where does this 64 come from? If you chose D,
Squared 16.
what did you guys square instead? The 8, yeah. So maybe you looked at the circle and instead of doing the radius squared,
Diameter.
you did the diameter squared, yeah. So just kind of every little piece of this really is just something you got to memorize. Make sure you know for sure. Any questions on this one? Okay.
To be honest, I just think it's
All right, this one most people did pretty well on, but let's take a look at it because again, it's like all these little things, they're important. So which series of transformations is going to show going from where to where? Which circle are we starting from? From C to D. So we have to first of all make sure we know the order that it's going in. So it's getting smaller, not bigger. And okay, so let's read these possibilities carefully. Example A. It's telling me to add 3 to the x value and add 8 to the y value. So what is that telling me to do? What is that telling me? 3 to the right and 8 units up. Is that what I'm doing? 1, 2, 3, and then 8. It kind of has it wrong, right? Okay, so A and C had it in the wrong order. You're not adding 3 to the x value, you're adding 3 to the y value, and then you're adding 8 to the x value. So A and D had that part wrong. And then the scale factor, yeah, since it's getting smaller, not bigger, the scale factor should be what type of number? If you're getting smaller, what type of number are we looking for the scale factor?
A fraction.
It's going to be a fraction, not a whole number. So that makes it smaller, whereas the 6 would make it larger. So B is correct, not D. Scale factor, remind me one more time. Scale factor is what over what? Good, Jalen, good. Image over pre-image. And when you're putting the numbers in for image over pre-image on a circle, what number am I putting into that little fraction? What am I calculating for each of these circles? So I want to put a number into this equation, it's not the diameter that well, you could use the diameter, but usually, yeah, it's the radius. So the radius of the image is 1, right? This has a radius of 1, and then this bigger circle has a radius of 6. So it's 1 over 6. And that's just something to make sure you know how to do in case there are two options that are both correct, but both have different scale factors. If you want to just make sure you know how to do the scale factor, we use the radius. Questions? By the way, speaking of scale factor, for radius and circumference, the scale factor is k. But if I'm talking about area, what's the scale factor again? So for radius and circumference, the scale factor is the same. But for area, what's the scale factor? It's something else. What is it? There's something you got to do to the k. K squared. K squared. So what would I need to do to the area of this circle to find the area of the small circle? I would have to multiply it not by 1/6, but times 1/36 to get the new area. So you just have to remember that for area, the scale factor is k squared. Questions on that? We'll review that a little bit more tomorrow, but do I have any questions on that? Okay, all right. And then the last one from the quiz. Here this is purely the definition, okay? And I know that this kind of confused a lot of people during class. And then I noticed that there were 3 people who got it wrong on the quiz as well. So I just definitely want to go over this. This all comes down to remembering the definition. So you cut this circle into a bunch of tiny little triangles, you line them up, and when you line them up, you're going to end up with this parallelogram that's made up of all the slices, right? Definition, based on the definition, what is the base of this parallelogram? Pi r. What is the height of this parallelogram? What is the height? R, just R. Exactly. We wrote it down. Well, you should have written it down because I talked about it during class and I told you to write it down. So if you wrote it down, this should have been a very easy question. But if you failed to do so and you didn't have it in your notes, then yeah, you're probably going to forget what it was. So very simple. Base is not 2 pi r, the base is pi r, and the height is r. It's answer choice C. Please do not get this type of question wrong on a test. That is way too easy. This was not a hard question in the slightest. This just came down to making sure that you write down the definition and you're able to remember it. Because then when you try to find the area, pi r times r, that's pi r squared. All the other options would give you something wrong. A, if you multiplied it, you would get 1/2 pi r squared, which is not the area. For B, if you try to multiply, you get 2 pi r squared, which is also not the formula for area. And then for C, you would get the right answer, but it wouldn't come from the right numbers. You would still get pi r squared, but it would come from the wrong numbers. So C is the only one that makes any sense. Should I go over this again? What do you guys need? Do we understand it? Do we have any questions? Anybody, questions on this? This is what we went over on Friday. This was part of Friday's class. Okay. All right, then let's go ahead and go into our review. So starting with this first example, we're going to be mostly doing, I kind of separated it into two sections for reviewing. Today we're going over like angle measurements, different types of chords and inscribed angles, central angles, all of that stuff. And then tomorrow we'll go over like the harder stuff, you would say. So like the equations of circles, circle similarity, like transforming circles. This situation, we'll go over that tomorrow, and radians we'll go over tomorrow. So everything more so from Friday's class, Thursday and Friday's class. All right. So if angle C is 55 degrees, then how much is angle D? Put it in the poll. 30 seconds, go. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, only 4 people voted, but they all got 100%. So those that didn't vote, if this was a test, you would get an F. Maybe I should be grading this. Should I be grading this? I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I be
Yes.
grading it? No? You don't think that's fair? I don't know. I think I'm going to grade it on participation. Yeah, that's what
Yes, please grade it. Please grade it.
I'm going to grade it on participation. You don't have to get it right, but you got to participate. So at the end of class, I'm going to be able to download the results, and then it'll tell me how many questions each person answered. All right, so 55 degrees. This is also 55 degrees because both of those angles are what type of angles? What are those called? Inscribed angles. And both of those inscribed angles intersect the same arc. Which arc do both of these intersect? Which arc do both of these intersect? Nope, not DC. Where do they open up onto? AB. They intersect AB. So how much is AB? How much does AB measure? Going once, going twice. Only one student answered in time. That was Janelle's, 110 degrees. Twice the measure of the inscribed angle. Easy, easy. This should not be hard. Any questions on this? Okay, next one. All right, this one, put your answer privately in the chat. And again, I'm participation grade today. So answer it, doesn't matter if you get it right or wrong, but make sure you put your answer in the chat. I'll give you guys 45 seconds for this one. If SOT is 68, how much is SRT? Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. If SOT is 68 degrees, almost everybody got it right. What would be SRT? $34. You got it. 34 degrees. And how much is arc ST, by the way? Also 68. Good. All right. So you have to be able to see it both ways. Like in this case, they have this nice angle that they show you, but sometimes all you're going to see is the arc. Okay, so you have to be able to see it both ways, not just when there's a nice little angle in the middle. You have to be able to notice the same situation in this case. All right, questions on that? Half the length, half the measure. Okay, next one. Now let's make it a little bit more interesting. Go ahead and try this one out. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. Send me your answers in the chat. Same thing, participation. I'm keeping track. I'm writing, I have everyone's name down and I'm just checking off who participates and who doesn't. All right, about 40 seconds remaining. And that is time. All right, so again, send me your answers. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. I'm just waiting to hear from everybody. And there's still some people who have not been answering it. So this is going into the grade book. And the marking period ends on, for me, Wednesday at midnight is when my grade book closes. So just make sure you're working towards bringing that grade up. All right. So we know that this is the arc measurement. And then this is my inscribed angle. So that means that 2 times 6x minus 2 will equal 56. All right, so you got to multiply whatever this is times 2 will give you 56. So from here, we're just going to solve. So this is 12x minus 4. Subtract or add 4 to both sides. Yeah, 12x equals 60. Divide both sides by 12. 60 divided by 12, I got x equals 5. All right, so it was asking me for the value of x, not for the value of the whole thing. So just be careful you didn't try to plug it in. Any questions on this one? Going once, Going twice. Okay. 30 seconds for this one. Let's see how much we remember. Ready, set, go. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, most people got it, but I think I know what happened if you chose the other ones. Just got to make sure we're doing the correct thing for this type of angle, because this is no longer an inscribed angle. What's this one called? What type of angle is this one? Circumscribed. And what is the relationship between the circumscribed angle and the central angle? What's the relationship? If you got it right, you know what the relationship is. What would be the relationship? They are supplementary. Supplementary. So the circumscribed plus the central angle add up to 180. And just like the other problem I showed you guys before, they didn't give you the central angle. They didn't draw it for you. But we know based on what we know about circles that this arc right here, which they do give us, that's equal. So even though they don't show you the central angle, you should know that that 100 degrees is the same as the central angle. So either way, those would be supplementary. All right, so answer choice D. They add up to 180. Questions on this one? Going once. Going twice. All right. Okay. Try another 30-ish seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. I think we can do it in 30. Ready, set, go. Nice, guys. Take another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Remember to participate for a grade. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Good. Okay. See, I put this one up because I thought it was going to trick you guys, but you guys did not get fooled. We got 100%.
No, so you have to multiply the angle D. Well, not multiply. Well, yeah, multiply it by 2. Then subtract the 96 that you get from multiplying 2 from 180, and then you get 84.
Right, exactly. So 48 times 2, that gives me what is that? 92, 96? 96 degrees. Okay, and then you can go and subtract it from 180, which is how we got 84 in the end. So B. Nice job, everybody got it right. So I'm assuming there's no questions. However, I do want to go over one little thing. What type of angle is this one and this one?
Random angles.
No, there's specific. There's something specific.
Something specific angles.
Those are tangent, right? Because let me extend this line right here. So AB, that's a tangent. AC is also a tangent line. And tangents make a special angle. What type of angle is that? The red ones. Those are 90 degree. Yep. That's a 90 degree angle. And that's a 90 degree angle. Also, you could have figured that out because these add up to 180, and how much does it have to be in total? For that also has to add up to 180. So they're each 90. All right. Any other questions on this one? Also, don't forget that AC is congruent to AB. So AC is congruent to AB. Those side lengths are congruent. And I think that's it. All right, let's do another. Okay, I'm not gonna go over how to do this one, but let's see who remembers. Go ahead and take another 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds. 45 seconds. Okay, I'll give you guys a full minute because I'm only seeing two responses so far. 30 seconds remaining. All right, if you're not sure, just guess in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Uh-oh. All right, so clearly we just need a quick refresher because this is
There's
really not.
no way it's A. It's more than 90.
Let's go over it. Let's go over it. So, how do we do this? How do we do this type of problem? Not sure? So, yep, it involves adding these, but then you have to do one more step.
Divide them.
Yeah, by what?
2.
Yep. It's 1/2 of the sum. So we went over this like on Wednesday of last week, I think.
Oh, come on. So now I remember the formula. But then
Yeah.
while I'm doing the question.
Yeah, now you remember. So what's 130 plus 156?
286.
And 286 divided by 2?
143.
Yep.
So that means
Answer
it's
choice
D.
D. Oops. So guys, it's kind of an easy thing to remember. Well, yeah, it's a pretty easy thing to remember. You just maybe forgot it by accident. So hopefully now that we've refreshed our memory, we won't make the same mistakes. That's a pretty easy type of question. Do I have questions on how to do it? Tyrone, you had the right thought. You had the right thought, but the wrong answer. Okay, cool. All right, so let's do another one, but we've done this one before. Let's see who remembers the trick you have to use first. Take another minute.
Oh, I remember this. I definitely remember this.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So I have 4 people chose D, but then it was kind of, I don't know, we weren't 100% sure on it. So let's take a look at this one. This one's trickier for 2 reasons. First of all, 122.5 would be if you were looking for these 2 arcs. So right off the bat, we got to do something about that. Because I want this angle measurement. How much is that? Let's call this one, I don't know, let's call this one theta. How much is theta going to be?
45,100,000.
It's not 45, because is this the center of the circle?
Yes. No, it isn't.
It's not the center. So is that a central angle?
No.
No. So what's another way to get this measurement? Good, Janelle's. We can just subtract from 180. 180 minus 122.5, what does that give me? What does that give me? 57.5. Okay, so theta is 57.5. Why? Because they're both located on the same line, and we know that a linear pair is going to add up to 180. So since both of those angles are located on this green line, together they have to be 180. So we can subtract from 180 to get the value of theta. Do I have any questions on that part? Okay, so 180 minus this number, I get that number. Well, now I can use my little formula, right? Because I know that 1/2 of x plus 45 is going to give me the 57.5. So it's my little formula. In this previous problem, I actually knew the 2 numbers that were in there. So there were no x there. I knew that both of these were going to equal x. So that's where my variable is. But in this one, my variable is in the parentheses. So to solve for x, what should I do to both sides? I can distribute. So 1/2 x plus, what's 45 divided by 2? 22.5? Equals 57.5. Then I just take away 22.5 from both sides. And I get 2, that's 35, right? But then what do I have to do to both sides? Not divide, careful. I have 1/2. Yeah, we're gonna multiply times 2. Times 2. I get 70. So this one was much trickier than the previous one because they kind of had things in the wrong place. All right. So any other questions on this one? Now, most people got it right, but I just want to make sure that we know
No, it was
how.
off by 5 degrees.
Right, because Daniel, did you actually calculate it or did you just kind of guess? Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. That's the big difference. That's why we got to know how to do things mathematically, not just pick a good number. That's not the point of geometry. Questions on this? Any questions at all? Not right now, Tyrone.
No, you're gonna make me more jealous. I lost my cat.
You what, your cat?
I kind of lost my cat. So he's more of an outside cat. And then like a month ago, there was like this huge storm in my area. And I was at school, so I couldn't put him inside. So he ran away to somewhere unknown.
Oh.
I,
That's
I
why
see
that's why I don't believe in outdoor cats. All cats should be indoor
I
cats.
see him on the way to school on the bus stop, but I can't really get him because it's in a gated area.
Oh, that's really sad. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why cats just, if you already took a cat in, you should not really bring it back outside. It's too dangerous out there. It's sad. Okay. All right. So any questions on this?
Oh yeah, I also found my the first stray cat that I met in that area too. Like a
So
cat
you lost
hangout.
one, you gained one. There you go. All right. Find the angle measurement of each inscribed quadrilateral. So in this one, I would like you to tell me what is the measure of angle S. And I'm going to give you guys a full 5 minutes on this one, but you have to send me it in the chat privately for participation grade. I'm still writing it down. Halfway through, still 2.5 minutes left. All right, about 45 seconds remaining. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So I seem to have stumped a few of you because I only heard from like 3 people. So let's definitely remember how to go through this. Okay, starting with, what do I know about the 4 angles of this quadrilateral? What's the relationships among them? Opposite angles are supplementary. So P and R equal 180. And then Q and S equal 180. So that's the first relationship you got to remember. Opposite angles are supplementary. So I can set up an equation using this information. Which 2 can I set up my equation with? Should I use P and R or Q and S? Good, P and R. P plus R equals 180. So 5y plus 3 plus 15y plus 7 equals 180. We're going to add these together, combining like terms. 20y plus 20 equals 180. Subtract 20. I get 20y equals 160. Divide by 20 on both sides. What do I get? 8. Just 8, not 80, because the zeros cancel. All right, so y equals 8. Well, now I'm looking for S, but before I find S, what do I have to figure out? First, I got to find q. Well, q is y squared plus 53. So q is going to be y squared plus 53, which is 8 squared plus 53. What's 64 plus 53? 117. So that's q. And if q is 117 degrees, then we know that it's supplementary with s. So what's 180 minus 117? 63. 63 degrees. So this was like a 3-step process. There was a lot of different steps, but we always start off with what we know, and we know that the opposite angles are supplementary. So if you looked at this problem and you didn't know where to begin, that's always the starting point. Set up what you know about those angles, what relationships do you know, and then go algebraically from there. So pause, take a moment, go through each step, because I know most of you did not get this one. Only 3 students sent me the correct response. So that means I have 6 students who just need to review it a little bit better. And if you're one of those 6 students, just let me know in the chat if you have any more questions or if you're good. Tyrone is good. Okay. All right. Let's do another one then. Now, okay, we're not looking for W. I want you to find, this is very similar. So now if you feel a lot better about it, then I want to see if those 6 people who did not answer last time can give me an answer this time. It's almost the same exact type of question, just with different numbers. So go ahead and begin. All right, about 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. All right, I'm going to give everyone, there's 30 seconds now. I'll give everyone 45 seconds because I know some of you might need a couple more seconds. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so here's my confusion because I get confused too. Not everyone, not just you. Okay, I also do. 3 people got the right answer on this one, and then that was 6 people who got it wrong or who didn't answer me at all. Those 6 people who got it wrong or who didn't answer me at all didn't have any questions. Those 6 people still didn't answer it, or they still got it wrong on this one. So the only people who got it right are the same 3 people. The same 3 people. So how does that make any sense? If I went over the question and nobody had any questions about it, how come those same 6 people still can't do it? Does that make sense to you? Am I the only one who's confused by this? Because I don't understand. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So kind of a waste of time to go over it if the same people are just going to keep getting it wrong. But here we go. The 3, okay, if you got it right, you know who you are. If you got it right, you're not allowed to answer during this time. I want to hear only from everybody else. What do I know about these 4 angles?
We know that X and Z are supposed to add up to 180.
Mm-hmm. X and Z equal 180. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those answers in, plug those numbers in, and see what I end up for X. So 5x plus 18 plus 3x plus 2 equals 180. Now I combine like terms. One of those 6 people, again, I want to hear from those who did not answer me. What do I get when I combine like terms? 8x plus 20 equals 180. What do I do to both sides? Good. Subtract 20. What's 180 minus 20? 160. And what's 160 divided by 8? $160 divided by 8? 20. So look through this part. If you got the wrong answer, check your work during this part because the odds are you got the wrong value for x. If you have the wrong value for x and then you go plug it in, then you're going to get the wrong answer overall. So you have to make sure this part is correct. Questions on this part? Okay. Now from here, x equals 20, I need to go ahead and plug that in for y. For w, I mean. So what's w going to be? 4 times 20, I get 80. So altogether, what's the measure of angle W? Good, 107. If W is 107, then Y is just going to be 180 minus that. What's 180 minus 107? 73 degrees. So you cannot rush through this problem. You cannot try and do it in your head, because if you do, you're just setting yourself up to make silly, silly, silly mistakes. If you know how to do it, then you should get the right answer. And if you know how to do it, but you got the wrong answer, then that means that you did a silly mistake somewhere in there. And that's where you got to make sure that you're plugging things, you're writing things into your notebook. Even I make mistakes all the time. I was trying to do it in my head and I got the wrong answer. And then who sent me their first answer? Perla or no, when Emily sent me her answer, I thought she was wrong. So then I had to go take my pen, do it on paper, and then realize that I had made a mistake and she was right all along. So it really, I'm not lying when I say don't try to do this in your head. It might be cool if you can do it, like you might feel proud of yourself if you're able to do it in your head, but you're just gonna set yourself up to make a mistake. And you don't wanna take that chance on a test. Any questions? All right. One more. This is a select all question, so I'm going to put it in the poll. Give me 1 second. All right. Obviously, don't choose F, although I know somebody will because y'all are like that. Take 45 seconds. Daniel, stop typing in the chat and answer the poll, please. All right. I see 4 people have answered so far. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So, C and D, most popular answers by far. Which
I
is
think
correct?
it's D.
You think it's what?
I think it's C and D.
C and D. So
I
let's take a
think
look.
D is guaranteed to be correct because it's the only one that makes the most sense out.
Okay, so yeah, that
Because you
is
have-
correct. Yeah, that is
You
correct.
have to add the angles to make it 360.
That is definitely correct. A, B, C, and D, all together, they're going to make 360. That is true. So
I
D
think
is
the
true.
hardest part about this question is that there's 3 different variables that we have to find before we could actually answer it.
That is the hardest part of the question, and that's what we're going to go through together to see what we get. So all together, all 4 of them do make 360 degrees. C, x plus z equal 180. That is also true because those are opposite angles. So A plus C is 180, and then also B plus D is 180. So obviously altogether, they also make 360. So C and D are correct, but we also have to take a look at everything else. So what about A? Z plus equals 2y. Does that make any sense?
But no.
No, that makes
But we
no
know
sense.
Y is 50.
But we know y is 50. So how do we know that? You're correct. How do we know that?
Because in order to get a 180, we needed 100. So multiply 50 by 2, you get a 100. So that means Y would have to be 50 or the equation wouldn't work.
Yeah. So kind of what you said. So together they make 180, right? 2y plus 80 has to equal 180. And then if you solve for y, you get y equals 50. So that one's also true. That one is also true.
So that means it's C, D, E. I went right past the E because I saw the D.
But do we know about B? So this is the last one we're missing.
It makes sense, but it doesn't make enough sense.
That's a good way to say it. It makes sense, but it doesn't make enough sense. Right.
Because X is more than 90, so it could possibly be 100, but Z is too small to be an 80.
Okay. That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. So if we know that D is 80 degrees, Z would have to be also 80 degrees in order for this to make sense. And it doesn't quite look like that. It doesn't look like it's 80 degrees, but we can't trust our eyes 100%, right? But we do know that X plus Z is 180. We know that. But past that, do we know anything else? Is it possible to know the value of X if you don't know the value
No,
of Z?
you can't know it if you don't have an equation to solve one of the variables.
Yeah, we don't have enough information to know. So we simply can't say if that's true or not. So B is also out. So it was C, D, and E. And most people knew they chose C and D, but a lot of people chose or missed answer choice E. And remember, on this type of problem, it's all or nothing. If you don't choose,
like one person that chose E.
It was like 2 people, I think. Did anyone choose all 3 correct answers? Emily got them all. Okay. So anyone else, even if you did get C and D, if you didn't choose E as well, then unfortunately you got the whole thing wrong. So we got to be super careful. Any questions on this one? You didn't see E? Oh my goodness. Okay.
No, I had done it in my brain to see if I could get like Z or X. But I thought that says something else. I don't know. I'm blind, miss.
You're blind.
I need 6 eyes.
You only have 4. Not enough. All right, moving on to the last part of this. So we have 10 minutes left. We'll see if we get through all of them. But just kind of reviewing this. So circle K has a radius of 10 inches with a central angle that measures 45 degrees. Find the area of sector JKL. So we're looking for the area. Take a minute, send me your answers in the chat. 1 minute on the clock. Okay, 15 seconds remaining, but if y'all want more time, just let me know. Okay, I'll add another 30 seconds. All right, that is time. Tell me, just send me what you got. If you don't have the full answer, just tell me what you have so far. All right. So I'm seeing a variety of correct answers and not so correct answers. So let's just
Did anyone else get 10 pi squared?
I don't think so. I think you were the only one.
I
Because 10 pi squared is part of this, but not the final answer. Okay. Let's set up our proportion. 45 over what? $45 over what?
Oh, I have to find the area of the sector JKL.
Read it carefully. 45 over 360 equals x over what?
Oh, wow. I only saw area. The chat was blocking like half the question.
Oh, you thought we were just looking for the area.
Yeah, because area
That's why I was going to say, you got that part right. The area of this whole triangle is pi r squared. So what, circle. So what is the area of the whole circle?
10 pi squared, or pi 10 squared.
Pi times 10 squared. 10 squared is 100, so this is 100 pi. Okay.
100 pieces of pie?
100 pieces of pie. It's a lot of pie. Okay. Then I'm looking for x, right? So there's a couple ways to do this that we've talked about. We can cross multiply and do it that way. Let's see what we get. So this would be 4,500 pi equals 360x. Got to divide both sides by 360. And what do we get? 12.5. So x equals 12.5 pi. Now, that's a nice answer, but I want it in fraction form because that's more likely what you're going to see it. So instead of plugging those numbers into your calculator, let's see if we can reduce it as best as we can. So I can cross out two of those zeros. 450 over 36. How do we simplify that fraction? Can divide both top and bottom by 3. Can we divide top and bottom by 6 as well? 450, 45 divided by 6. I don't know if we can do that. No, that would be a decimal. Wouldn't that be a decimal? No, because it's 450. Okay, you got it. Yeah, it would be 75 over 6, right? Yeah. Can we go any further than that? I think we can. 3 again, yeah. 25 over 2 pi. Okay, that's the area of the sector. Questions on this problem? Okay, so as a reminder, this was 12.5.
No, I understand now. I'm pretty sure I just got the answer wrong because
Because
I didn't see the whole.
you didn't see anything after this. You didn't see of sector. That's okay. All right, now we know. All right, I think we'll have time for one more. And then, like I said, the remaining questions will be extra credit, okay? So go ahead and try this one on your own, answer it in the poll, and then we'll go over it and we'll be done. I'll give you guys about a minute. Oops, sorry. There you go.
I have a question. Are those things both the same y, or is one the angle and one the central angle? Like what?
Good question. So they're labeling it y, but then it's y degrees. So don't stress yourself out over the fact that there's two y's because they're both referring to the same thing.
So one labels it and then the other one is the degree.
Yeah. Take another 20 seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, kind of a
I
mixed.
knew it was either B or D, but I didn't get to choose because I was running out of time.
Okay, that's okay. We kind of had a mixed answers. I'll show you guys what we got. They're all kind of all over the place.
Wait, why pick A? Doesn't it have to be like a denominator of 360?
Yeah, so that's why I kind of wanted to go over this one because it's a little tricky. So this one, if you start it as a proportion, you would do y over 360 equals x over, and we're looking for the length. Length corresponds to, would it be area or would it be circumference? If I'm looking for the length of this arc, should I be doing it over the area or over the circumference? Circumference. So it's x over circumference. That's the difference. Okay, in this problem, we were looking for area, so we did it over the area of the whole circle. In this case, we're looking for the length, so we do it over the circumference. So you got to just be it's very tricky. You got to make sure you know what you're doing. Well, the circumference is 2 pi r, and r is a, so this is a, or 2ar. 2ar. And then if we're trying to figure out the value of y, no, we're trying to figure out the value of x, I'm sorry. The way that they did this is they just took 2ar and multiplied it on both sides, which cancels it out. And, or 2a, sorry, you're right, 2a pi. 2a pi, not 2ar. Turn that into a pi. There we go, 2a pi. So 2a pi. Thank you, Rios. Okay. And at the end, they cross out and we're left with x equals y over 360
Equals negative b plus
X2
minus square root b squared minus all over 2a.
So it is A. It is A. Now, if you chose D, because look how close we were, A and D. If you chose D, that's because you did it over the area instead of doing it over the circumference. So that's the difference. Look for those keywords, length. If you're asked for the length, that's circumference. If you're asked for the area, then you use area. Questions? Shoot, the bell just rang. Okay. So I will send you guys later today. If I don't do it, remind me. These last 3 problems that we didn't get to, those will be for extra credit for homework. And I'll post it on Teams later today. Yes, it was A. Wait, no, sorry. Oh my goodness. It was B. It was B.
Are we going to the auditorium or Yeah, me neither.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow.
Bye, miss.
Bye.